All righty, welcome to the first mid-season report card with the Red Corner, folks. Red Riders, we had a huge Red Corner weekend. Bones, Slim, how we doing, boys? How was that watch party?
It was fun. We had a great time. It was an extended watch party due to the rain
It
delay.
was.
So
It was.
we could have sat there for basically two watch parties in one.
We closed that place down.
Absolutely, we did. We were there for the last call.
Yeah, great time. I had to cut out, of course.
Yeah.
At the end of the first inning, had to go get the kids, but great time all around. We had a huge crowd there. Picked up some subscribers, so that's always good. And
Yeah.
good food, good beer, good company.
Good food, good beer, good company is right. And that's exactly right. I think, as we're rolling out these new events and, different stuff that we're doing, the biggest goal is, obviously have a good time, but also as we're doing more to try to up the game. Slim, you said in our little side chat that was awesome because obviously our second watch party was a lot bigger than our first, and we're competitive, right? So we want to kind of keep on upping the game. So it's
Right.
going in the right direction. So that was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. The name of the game is tell a friend, bring a friend. Tell a friend, bring a friend. Obviously, we know there's some diehard Red Riders who are unable to come, but they tell their friends, so that's huge. So even if you're unable to come, just spread the news. We're having a good time. The Slim beers were flowing.
They were.
People absolutely got them. You can go to any of the bartenders. They're all great. And I think eventually some people were just saying my name and getting free beers because the tab Slim had to sign at the end of the night wasn't one Slim wanted to sign at the end of the night. I still had to litigate that with the missus.
Yeah. But look, you're a man of your word. You promised Slim Beers, and Slim Beers were delivered on. Again, thanks again to everyone who, like Slim said, either told a friend or actually came. We had a blast. We got some new subscribers. And speaking of subscribers, I know you guys are sick of me saying it, but I'm going to keep on saying it. If you're here, please hit that subscribe button. It helps. It helps you be notified of our show. And as you see down there at the ticker, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have a whole little online social community. But guys, speaking of community, and we have a jam-packed show today. So in that chat, we see you guys already in there. Questions, concerns, throw it out there. We'll get to your stuff. But speaking of community, I want to bring the listeners in on kind of where we're at. So, Bones, I know you're on vacation right now, right? So what do you got going on? Where are you reporting from right now?
I'm in Buena, New Jersey right now at
Okay.
mother-in-law, father-in-law's campground site. And right now, kids are outside, hopefully calming down. And then once we get this show done, they'll be coming in for their snack, go to sleep. And I can have a couple Slim beers myself.
you
Had a
you got
couple
some
on the
sun.
beach today. I got some sun today.
You got some sun.
Feel like Larry the Lobster.
Bones, is this the beginning of your vacation?
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
Friday
okay.
was. Friday, I had a half day, last day.
Nice.
I go back
That means-
next Monday.
Slim will be coming and finding you. Are you coming all the way down? All the way down to the exit
We were
6?
down this shore today.
Okay,
We
cool.
were down there today for the day. We'll
Awesome.
stay here
I mean-
for a couple days. Kids got a couple doctor's appointments during the week.
All right, cool.
The missus has work on 4th of July, so Thursday
I'll be
we're going
work-
to relax.
What are you doing? What's the beach day? Tuesday,
Today was
Wednesday?
the beach day.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
beach day's out. Okay.
And
okay.
Slim, you're down the shore too, right? Because you're a shore dude. All
I'm a
basically.
short dude.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm back and forth a lot. Got family on both ends.
Yeah.
But no, during the summer, we're gonna have to get the Wildwood outfit too for the studio.
100%. Stay tuned, guys, because we're going to have some shore events. There's no reason why we can't watch a ball game down at the shore. I was actually at Margate for the first time today. I want to talk a little bit about that a little bit later in the show because I have a bone to pick. However, guys, your Philadelphia Phillies are 49-35. Quick math tells me that's about a 95 win pace, which is pretty familiar, right? It's exactly their win total last year. So they're coming off a kind of head-scratching run here, right? The last two series, Braves, Astros, 5 out of the 6 games we scored 2 runs or less. We got away with 2 and 4 on that stretch. But here's the good news out of that bad news. The Mets are absolutely spiraling right now.
Yes.
So we are a game and a half on the Mets. We're top of the NL East again. But is some of this fool's gold? So before we jump into our report card for the midseason, I want to talk about the recent stuff. So Slim, I see you chomping at the bit. Where are you at right now on this team?
So the question is, how are we going to grade it? Because the record's fine,
Yeah.
But some of the homework and some of the tests are pretty easy, Uh, as we're predicting into the summer,
Yeah.
I think we had the 6th toughest schedule going forward. The strength of schedule is kind of tough for us. I'm nervous. Okay, the Mets are spiraling. They lost 12 out of 13, and we're
Insane.
we're about a game and a half up, a half a game up. So that's not great.
Right.
The only time we put any runs up this entire road trip was Friday night when the Braves left in their starter Elder after the rain delay, which was a mistake.
Our watch party, by the way.
Right, our watch party, exactly. So we haven't been. The offense is, in my opinion,
Bad.
panic button mode to the extreme. The games in Houston were some of the worst baseball games I've ever seen. And I tweeted it out today. I said today, and I'm not lying, I took a nap during today's game. I knew I could take a nap. And that's a problem. I don't like being here. The offense isn't fun. We have a lot of people to blame.
Right.
You can blame everyone and everybody besides, in my opinion, Turner. And I'll always go to bat for Schwarber, but Turner's doing a great job in the leadoff spot. He's leading the league in hits basically since he's been up there. So you're not going to move him. I'm actually, he's crushing it there, but no one else is doing anything. No one else.
Right.
Yeah, the offense is looking pretty skeleton right now. I mean, like you said, they 2 runs or less in 6 of the 7 or 5 of the 6 games this week.
That's right. That's right.
That's bad news.
That's bad news.
And the thing is, like everybody thought, the pitching's been better this week from the opposition. Mm-hmm. So as the pitching gets better, the bats are getting dead. And that seems like the problem we ran into the last few years. I don't know if it's just like one of them things where the team's just cold now, and then they'll be hot again.
Right.
And they're all going to get hot at the same time because that's just the way they work for some reason. So it's weird, but I'm kind of glad that it's happening now because maybe this puts like the alert out to Dombrowski to go make something happen and bring 100%. It back in here.
Now, well said, and that's the thing about baseball, right? A lot of times the results can be misleading. And you can't focus in on that. That's why watching these games and kind of being in the weeds on the box scores is important, right? Because we're lucky we didn't go 0-6. Obviously, we had that one game where we scored 13 runs. That was an anomaly there. But overall, that production, 5 of 6 with 2 runs or less. I mean, you can't win baseball games like that. So we should be very fortunate that we are where we're at right now. So that in mind, and we're going to talk. I have all the headlines we're going to hit on, but here we are right now, approximately the midway point, right? 12 games until the All-Star break. Probably the most pivotal stretch of the year so far. We talked about it online. Where do you grade the team? Give me a classic A minus, A plus, the tiers. By the way, that doesn't have to be your grade, but use the letter grade system. And Bones, we'll start with you on this. Where would you grade this team so far?
So I'm going to break it down into the 3 phases.
Love it.
We'll go 4 because starting pitching has been A++. Could be a couple more pluses, but Luzardo,
start off with the overall grade.
Overall, we'll go with like a B-.
B-.
I mean, they're still on pace for 95 wins, right? So there's got to be credit given somewhere, and the teams, they're playing what's in front of them. They're beating bad teams. They still have a winning record over teams above 500, so that's good.
Right, because that was the big narrative, right, early on, that they didn't beat teams, but that's not true. So
and it's just now the offense is hitting a little stutter step here. So B- overall. The starting pitching's been A++. Could be more. Luzardo taking few steps back in his last couple starts. Fielding, C. I mean, they should have way more errors than they do, but that's just the nature of the game now with the scoring system they got. And the bullpen, big fat F. The bullpen stinks.
Yeah.
They need a huge makeover by July 31st, whenever that deadline is.
That's exactly the deadline. Yeah. So thank you for those bonus grades there. Now, Slim.
And hitting B.
Yeah. That's
Hitting's
fair.
a B.
Hitting's a
B because in the beginning of the year they did change their approach for the most part going into this season.
And I'm going to talk about that.
And like we talked about the chase rate, stuff like that. And everybody's going to talk about like them swinging at the first pitch. There's got to be something out there why they're swinging at the first pitch, because we go to 6 games this week, and a lot of these times, and Nick Castellanos is the first. He's been swinging first pitch literally every time, probably since he got benched against Rob Thompson. Every at bat, first pitch.
Yeah,
he's swinging, he's hacking, and I was looking at like a lot of these times, like Bohm's not taking the first pitch, and he's getting first pitch fastball a lot,
right?
And he's just sitting there waiting. And I don't know if it's the scouting report they're getting, but sometimes they look like that they're just guessing wrong at the plate.
Well, like I'll tell you why Castellanos,
because they're like way off. They're way off. And it looks bad.
All right, so real quick, then I'm going to kick it over to Slim. So for Castellanos specifically, he's swinging at the first pitch because I don't have the latest and greatest numbers, but recently he was batting like over 400 when he swings at the first pitch. So the numbers kind of spoke for themselves there. It's annoying to watch because obviously he's hacking and he misses a lot, but the numbers kind of supported that. Slim, what do you got for your grade for the overall?
My overall grade, I had to give it a C.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it has to be a C. I'm giving an A to the pitching, an A++, whatever. But everything else, especially the hitting, is the hitting's incomplete. And you can't go any higher than a C on the hitting. Being nice, I'll say incomplete because we'll probably get into trade target.
Incomplete.
Right. Because hopefully we're bringing somebody in. But if you go straight down that roster. I know you mentioned Castellanos, he's jumping out on the first pitch, but I would love to see the splits against versus who, because I'm sure there's probably some relievers he's getting on, but that's not here or there.
I hear you.
The bigger question is this: is the whole approach angle we've been talking about since the beginning of the year? What Bones mentioned.
Yep.
The numbers that stand out to me. So we're telling these guys, right? One thing we're telling these guys to play a baseball a certain kind of way. See more pitches, work counts, play small ball, the essence of small ball. And they kind of leaned into it. We all agreed. We said the fans who were saying that they're not, that they're still slugging, that they're completely wrong. They leaned into this.
Mm-hmm.
Since they leaned into it, we see they're top 10 in categories like getting guys on base, getting dudes in scoring position, walks, but they're not slugging at all. So none of it really matters, I think we had a game the other day where we had double-digit hits, and it's all singles. We can barely get any doubles or homers.
Dude, that's been all year long. So
what I'm saying is I love that we tried the new approach, but it's time for us to start bringing the boom, baby. Right? Like, geez, we got to bring it back. So it's incomplete. We got to bring in a bat. It is what it is. And, I'm not a Nicky C guy, but when we're playing against good teams, they're going to go back to what they know. Turner says it. Harper says it. Castellanos says it. The only one who seems smart enough not to go back to relying on their pure talent is Schwarber. But even we see he gets caught up all the time. So, that's where I'm at with it.
You're a tough grader, man. So you're going C overall. But no, I'm glad you hit on that because – yeah, exactly. It's that teacher in you. So 100%. The stats show that, right? So basically, we're one of the bottom 5 teams in the league with runners in scoring position with, that's including both just men on second and third and then bases loaded. I think bases loaded were like 28th in the league.
Right. Yeah, but we're getting guys on base almost every
we're
inning.
Getting guys on base. So it's a very weird conundrum because it almost doesn't make sense, right? Because the fact that we are being more selective at the plate and how that brings down some of the power, that passes the common sense test, right? Because you don't have guys swinging out their shoes as much, going for the home run swing. That makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is with these more, I'm going to call it high IQ at bats, you would think the situational hitting would be strong with that too, and it hasn't been. So it's been this weird kind of, I would say, like nervous energy, right? Like
right.
that's, yeah.
And I think part of it is they're doing the that they're leaning into the approach, but then it's not fully. I know were multiple times this past week where I thought, and I think he's playing a lot better recently. But Marsh, if he's the 9th-hole guy, why not just bunt some dudes over? I mean, we're talking about we weren't scoring a run in 3 straight games, and I didn't see a 9-hole guy bunt with anyone when they were on base. And I get it, yeah, but I don't know. It's hard, and maybe like you said, we it felt good. What was it, game 2 when we finally crossed? We were never out of the games, and when we finally did cross the home plate in 27 innings later, it felt like we could still win. And obviously, we gave it up the very next inning. Right, we gave it up the very next inning, but yeah, maybe we could have generated. My point being is that they were trying to lean into the approach. They actually couldn't really because Houston has the good pitching, so everything they were practicing got thrown out the window, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know. I just think we're in a. And the reason I give them a C too is if you give them, and this is the teacher, if you give them too high of a grade, then they believe it, and then maybe we don't get that bad. But if you go straight down that order, Stott's not performing, Kepler's not performing. We saw lineups where it was Sosa, Otto Kemp, Buddy Kennedy, and then like Rojas or Marsh,
right?
Yeah. So
it's like the Iron Pigs.
It sucks.
Spring training lineup.
Spring training lineup. All right, so let me give my grade really quick here. So I'm looking at yours. So Bones was B-, Slim was C. I think I might be what was her name? The Paula Abdul. I might be the Paula Abdul of the judges here because I'm going to go a solid B. Honestly, I think we have to factor in that they're still on a 95 win pace, right? But also, when you're doing a projection, it would be fool's gold and, dumb to not factor in the most recent data you have when you're projecting out. And the most recent data we have is bad news. So, and I'm not going to reiterate everything we just said. So I'm going to give them a solid B for my overall grade. And Slim, you just teased this on Kepler. So before we talk about feeling the love, let's get some hate out of our hearts right now because we got to talk about this Max Kepler situation. So let's go here, and I'm going to start with you, Bones. We haven't been on the horn yet since the Kepler news broke. Obviously, for the listeners, most of you probably already know this, but Max Kepler, first-year starting left fielder, went to the media, and he complained. He said he thought he was going to be the everyday starting left fielder, and is basically attributing that to his not being able to get rhythm. Bones, where are you at on that whole situation?
He played himself out of being the everyday left fielder by not being able to hit lefties or righties, for that matter. But lefties particular because that's when he's mostly out of the lineup. And, you just got to do your job. Stop blaming this, stop blaming that. And Rob Thompson said, I told these guys before, if you think you're out of rhythm by missing a game and at bats, maybe you are, but you're a professional. Fix it. Deal with it.
Yup.
And I don't know if I could see him being out of here by the deadline, designated for assignment. Let him go elsewhere because he stinks. He's not bringing anything to the table. Outfield, we can replace that with somebody else on the market.
Slim.
It seems to me that this is the ripple effect of the Castellanos thing. On this show, we've had, we're in jest, but we're pretty serious, but we're fans, and we don't want to get families involved, nothing crazy like that. No. But we do have a juxtaposition with Kepler in left field and Castellanos in right field. And we looked at the WARs, And like if Topper's saying you got to be professional and be able to hit on any given day, if you're playing 4 days in a row, if you're off 4 days in a row, it doesn't matter. But then you see how other players are being treated. I don't know. Compared to home run numbers, I think call it jealousy. Maybe he wanted the leeway that Kepler was getting or that
Yeah.
Castellanos was getting. But I think he was probably looking over out there. And it's funny because the times he got to play right field, he had blunders, you know? He kind of had that. Yeah, kind of had like that Castellanos shadow over him, which is hilarious, you know?
100%.
Imagine Castellanos' face with the gold chain, like, you know, just in the shadows in right field, right over you. And then same thing when 2 weeks ago, I said the offensive lineup included Kepler in center field. The dude batted, I think, 180 in May and then just batted like 140 in June. So, yeah, my boy, I think he has some points there. I do think there's a lot of favoritism in that locker room. But, yeah, man, it's not going to work here, bud.
It's not going to work
here for a couple of years. They, deserve that in them. He doesn't deserve anything.
Yeah.
This is why, he got a deal with the Phillies because nobody else is giving him that money. And I said it 5 months ago when they signed him. They're 5 years too late.
What do you think was said to him?
He was going to be the everyday left fielder.
I think that's pretty clear. I mean, they said that from Jump Street. Dombrowski said that. But the thing is,
the money says it.
Yeah,
you're not going to pay some guy $10 million to be doing that.
Right. So Michael T in the chat saying Kepler has to go now. Call Crawford up. I hear you there, brother. So this is my stance on Kepler. Slim, I'm glad you brought up that Castellanos thing, but I have a couple of things I want to say about that. Number one, Kepler has, in the history of the Phillies, I think I've never seen anyone that has less legs to stand on, right? He's got no legs to stand on. He doesn't have career playoff, any type of swagger, right? He doesn't bring anything like that, right? He's not coming off a good year. We gave him the chance, right? We gave him the chance. He didn't hit righties, as Bones said. He doesn't hit lefties at all. Even in the limited at-bats that we gave him, he didn't perform. If you're not performing on either side of the plate, what are we even talking about? And here's the other thing I want to talk about. Slim, I think that you're right about the Castellanos thing, but what we're not bringing up is the Kemp stuff. He's getting a little bit jealous about the Kemp getting all the love, right? And what pisses me off is you see a young guy making his debut, right? And this is where you're not being team first at all. Because now you have Kemp out there who's looking over his shoulder thinking, oh, there's a vet in the clubhouse who's moaning about the fact that I'm out here, not me. So that was with me. That's where my mind was. That's a selfish move for you to take that to the media. And now this guy Kemp, who we need to perform. And by the way, he has performed. But I'm pissed off that he brought that to the media and said that when you got a guy in Kemp who's just trying to go out there and win a job. So
what's the conversation? Because we know, I think we all in the back of our heads is thinking, can he be DFA, designated for assignment, right?
Right.
What's the because he got paid $10 million. You've been saying it since March, basically.
Yeah.
Is it Middleton going to Dombrowski? Like, dude, you wasted $10 million. You were not cutting this guy this year. Make it work. What's that conversation? Who takes the blame there? Because the wallet conversation is a conversation. I mean, I'm interested in these guys' pockets and the decisions they're making here, and I wonder how that goes. I mean, they might be on the same page. Just cut this guy. We'll eat it. It's 1 year. But I don't know. I would love to know how that goes down.
I'm sure Middleton saying, we gave you the opportunity to bring some guys in, and you're pushing the wrong buttons right now. Right. So you got this next month to figure it out, to be pushing the right buttons, or the door is going to be shown to you at the end of the year if this doesn't go the way we want it.
Okay. I could see something like that happening, especially the reason, again, going back to my grade, the reason I gave them a C is the starting pitching. They're going look, Suarez, Sanchez, Wheeler. Since May 1st, Suarez and Wheeler are two of the top 3 pitchers in all of baseball in ERA. The third one, I think, is Skeens. These guys aren't just really good; they're the best in baseball. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, we have three. We have 3 sub-3 ERA starting pitchers.
It is unreal.
Unreal.
It is unreal.
Yeah,
I would love to see one of these guys get the Cy Young. That'd be so sick.
that would be super sick. But so Slim, to kind of hit on your thing, I think the DFA is in play, especially if he has another, anti-clubhouse comment. I think at that point you're done. But I think the first thing you do is, can you trade him for something, right? Like as a GM and as an owner, if I have an asset that we're approaching the deadline and I don't want him on the team anymore, I want to try to get something back for him. So that's where my mind goes immediately. I don't think he has a little bit of pedigree, right? Like he's not complete damaged goods. So let's to Michael T in the chat's point here. Let's transition this conversation to exactly, it's all tied in, right? So let's just say we're done with Kepler. Kepler's done. Are we okay with calling up Crawford right now and giving him the keys to the car in center field? I'm start with you on that one, Bones.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, like right now, the big knock on him is like his ground ball rate. Okay,
Right.
if his ball rate is bad, but if he's rolling the ball over to first base and it's second and third with 0 outs or 1 out, that's an RBI. I don't care if he's making out; he's scoring a run. That's baseball for you.
Productive out.
I mean, he's been hitting everywhere he's went in the minors. He's up to like 338 down in AAA right now. I mean, we don't need the power. Just need somebody to hit the ball when the men are on.
Yeah, I mean, well, we kind of do need the power, but we don't expect it from him. So I know the point you're. I know the point you're making. Yeah. Right. I know. We're not expecting it. Right. Slim, where are you at on that?
I actually want to do it. I would keep him down there. Let him keep crushing it, especially to your point. I love what you're saying. See what we can get for Kepler. You got to see what we can get.
Right.
We're thinking DFA. I wonder if other teams are thinking that we might just release this dude as well. And I think we got to think the same kind of way with Crawford, because if we're going to make a deal, and I know it's been a long time since we had a lot of prospects that we liked, and it's going to maybe hurt getting rid of them. But we're gonna have to because nobody wants the guys we have. Nobody wants the guys we have. So you might see a package that has Kepler thrown in there with Crawford and somebody else. So I would let Crawford stay down there. Let him, because right now, his value is who knows what it is in the major leagues. We don't want him to come up and not look good in a lineup that doesn't look good. And then. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather keep the aura of Crawford being something, at least for a little while here.
Yeah, Bones, what were we going to say?
No, I said that's a good point.
It really is. And Bonzi in the chat saying, bring him up on Crawford. This is my thing, right? So the timing of all this is actually perfect. 2 reasons. Number 1, Crawford has the benefit of looking at his old teammate in Otto and saying, oh, wow. He's having success up in the big leagues. Why can't I? So he gets that familiarity and that comfort of having his old boy alongside of him, right? I like that for that reason. Number 2, Marsh is playing his best baseball right now, right? So why don't you give Marsh a little bit of platoon looks with Kemp over there? You spot starts here and there based off of pitchers and all that. Let Crawford play center and see if he has what it takes to be our guy out there. So I think it's a perfect time to do all this stuff, especially with Harper coming back, turn things around. Guys, let's transition now to – let's get that negative energy off, and let's go to Feel the Love, right? So we just had our watch party at Love City Brewing. Love City Brewing is, in our opinion, the best brewery in the city of Philadelphia. We just did a watch party there, and our weekly segment is Feel the Love, where we highlight a player – that week. And Slim, who is your Feel the Love of the week?
There's only one person Slim can pick for this week, and my Feel the Love, and I'm loving what he did this week. Believe it or not, I'm picking Max Kepler. Max Kepler. The reason I'm picking you out is because you're the first person I've seen who has called out the front office. In my opinion, I think there is some kudos there in calling out the front office. The Phillies oftentimes, especially when you compare them to the Sixers, the Flyers, and the Eagles. The Eagles are winning Super Bowls now, but when they weren't, the Phillies don't get the criticisms, that some of these other organizations get sometimes. And I think Kepler kind of took a shot and drew back that curtain a little bit, which for all purposes intended is entertaining as hell for me.
Great content.
And I think there is some hypocrisy there in the culture of our locker room. With that being said, the reason I really, 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 really love this is because he's making the decision easy on the front office now. We can just get rid of this guy. I don't know if it's by Monday or by Tuesday. We could cut, like you said, designate him for assignment, bring up Crawford, bring back Harper, and there's two guys right there, two brand new bats that haven't been there. It will feel like a whole new year. So I love the fact that Kepler with his mouth is making the decision easy for us, not even worry about him. And hopefully, I would love to trade him first, but I'm thinking more so just moving on from him in any fashion.
100%. Bones, who is your field of love of the week?
I'm going field of love. I'm going for the starting rotation this week, and it started with Ranger Suarez at the beginning of the week, and it ended with Ranger Suarez today. They only got 2 wins out of the week, and one was Friday night, the bullpen game. Today, Ranger got the win, but all week, the start rotation, they gave up 3 runs all week out of the five starts. We won't count Friday. They had no runs, but even still, at six games where they only gave up 3 runs. So the rotation, they really kept them in a lot of games this year, and especially this week, gave them a chance to win. They only won 2 of them. Mm-hmm. The offensive output Friday, they didn't really need the rotation to do that well, but it helped putting up a goose egg. But for this week, it's the whole rotation.
Love it. Listen, that's our first full rotation for the field of love. Listen, there's no rules. No rules.
They're doing top 11s. They're throwing in all Eagles offensive lines as one player. I'm throwing in the whole rotation as the one player.
No, that's fair. It is your field of love. I'm going to go kind of a little bit of an apology tour here because I don't think anyone has been more negative on Brandon Marsh than I have, right? And honestly, I'm still not there. I'm still kind of – there's been too much in the past for me to forget. But he's been playing good baseball the past, call it, 2 months. So since May and June, he's been tearing the cover off the ball for Brandon Marsh standards. So he deserves to be called out in the field of love, and I'm going to give him some kudos. I think that might be his first field of love of the year by anyone. I checked the records. I don't recall if he got one. But so shout out to you, Marsh. Hey, you're playing yourself into – did you have one on him, Bones?
Yeah, last week.
Did you really?
Yeah.
All right.
Play on Sunday night.
All right. Don't get technical on us, Bones. But anyway, so shout out to Brandon Marsh. We got a lot of good chat activity here. So Michael Timms is saying Dombrowski is going to spin heads. I got a feeling. We got Mo Parr in the chat saying, I missed the wash party. Had to work late 3 doors down from Love City. Where are you working at, man? We'll have to show some love to you. And we owe you.
That was there?
Yeah. So, let us know where you're working at, bro. Yeah.
And next watch party, I'm not sure when we're going to have it. We got to link up, figure it out. But come through, say Slim Beer, and the bartenders already know what to do.
It's exactly right. So, gentlemen, I want to kind of just briefly talk about the Harper coming back stuff, right? We don't have to spend too much time on this. I saw Scott Lauber of the Inquirer wrote an article basically saying that Harper's expected back this week, and it could be as soon as tomorrow. So I'll leave it there. Slim, where are you at on this? Obviously good news, but are you worried that it's too soon? What's going on?
So I don't know. It seems like to me it's going to be something he's going to have to live with for the rest of his career.
Right.
We know he's signed that 13-year deal. He's 6.5 years in. He's basically at the midway point, like we are with the season. Mm-hmm. For him to make the contract worth it, he's going to have to be impactful every single season. We can't be having the injury risk that we've been seeing recently in his career. So that means he's going to probably have to play through this. Funny thing I heard was Jason Worth was actually cut from the Dodgers because he has similar chronic wrist issues. He eventually got something figured out, and then we got him, and he was fantastic.
Right.
They played together in Washington. So I wonder, and I'm sure there has been, and this has been reported, I think maybe in other places as well, but there's been any dialogue of how can he play through and live with just having a aching wrist? Is there a protection thing,
Right.
something along those lines, something that maybe can give you an extra support when you snap that, when you're snapping those Bedlam at the bank homers.
That's right, baby.
And that's
Perfect timing against the Padres.
Yeah.
Oh, good call.
Ooh.
Good call. Yeah, perfect timing. And hey, that's a good call by you, Slim. Basically saying like, hey, can he call his old buddy in Worth and see if there's anything specific that he did? I'm sure that's something he did, the doctors or whatever.
Worth probably was eating some kind of tree root, that made his his joint stronger.
Right. Bones, where are you at on the Harper return thing?
Yeah, I mean they need the spark back in the lineup, so hopefully it's tomorrow night. Been taking more swings, saying he's pain free,
Right.
stuff like that. So everything's pointing in the right direction for him to come back this week, and hopefully it is tomorrow.
I mean, personally, I think the combination of the Harper back with a Crawford call up is going to just inject. And again, Slim, I know you're not on the same side of that, but from like an excitement standpoint, it doesn't get any better than that, right?
No, when you brought it up like that, I didn't even think of it like that. You're absolutely correct. It will bring a ton of positive momentum. Will give us a fresh new look. One, potential MVP type when he's on, and the other one, just young, fresh, new face with some speed and athleticism. So it would be sick. If the Phillies do not make a move at the deadline, I think this is the year we will all lose it, right? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 100%.
If we don't bring in some kind of bat,
I agree with you.
I think we're going to lose it. So me doing the disaster scenarios, I get worried.
100%.
But again, how much damage could he do to his? How much damage could he do to his value? He could, and honestly, if he came up and was hitting, he could only increase his value. He could look good. It could be the reverse of what I'm saying.
So listen to this. So Don Borowski sat down with Jason Stark in his podcast, Starkville, for honestly 30, 40 minutes within the last week or so. Great listen. I if you haven't listened, Red Riders, go check it out. Guys, a big trade's coming. Make no mistake. Don Borowski basically said that he's not looking for starting pitching. Well, we all know that, right? But there's a big trade coming. We're in a window here, and he doesn't like the word window because it diminishes our farm. But the reality is we're in a window. That's how this works. And we got to go. We got to go for gold this year. It doesn't mean you got to completely mortgage the future, but there's going to be some big trades this deadline.
Right. And the facts are this is one, we're prioritizing the bat, the outfield over any pitching help. And I'm including any relief pitching help. I think we can later in the year, we're going to be so surplus with starting pitchers that we're going to be able to move some of those into the bullpen when needed. Emergency time, and you guys know what I said earlier about what I think is going to happen with Painter now. The second thing, what was the second thing I was going to say? First thing was that second thing with the trade, whatever. I forget what my second thing was going to be.
That's fine. So while you're thinking of that, so Mo in the chat saying Marsh was in a funk. I think he's working the kinks out on his game. I agree, brother. Listen, we need outfield production, so no one's happier to see what Marsh turning it around like that. Slim, you said something to me that kind of rang a bell. So Red Riders, for all of you guys that have been following us since the offseason, right, because we do this podcast all year long, right? We're an all year long Phillies podcast. We did a little, kind of gimmicky prediction in the beginning of the show beginning of the season, rather, where we dressed up as genies, right, the classic Disney genie, and we granted Phillies' wishes true. So I was kind of and we're going to do a full segment where we go back and look at those at the end of the year. But there's a couple of them, and I'm going to give you some kudos, both of you guys. So Slim, one of yours was Ranger pitching in the old form, right? Back in his old prior Cy Young form. And here you have it. I discounted that live on the show, but so good call on that. And Bones, I believe you had Turner, no, not Turner. You had Harper not going on the IL. Remember that? And here we are again. So it's funny. So a lot of the stuff that we were talking about, even the big heavy hitters, have been coming true one way or the other. So that was it was fun to go back and look at that, and we'll go deep into that. Bones, let's go around the corner.
All right, so this week's edition of Around the Corner is brought to you by the Fresh Works of Port Richmond. Joe Yo and his staff put together a great franchise there. I just had the wings last night. Their hot wings last night, and they ate the spot. I just got off of work at the bar and got in one of them. Oh man, took down 20 of them before I went to bed. I was starving.
20 spot, man.
Oh yeah. So I'm going over to the AL East today for my first around the corner, and we're going to Tampa Bay, the Rays.
Yup.
When the Phillies played the Rays, they were 16-20. The Rays were 16-21 when the Phillies played them. 3-game sweep down in Tampa at the Yankees spring training complex. Since then, on May 8th, the Rays have been 31-16. Right, they're 1.5 games behind the New York Yankees for first place in the AL East, and they're 3.5 games up. And they had the first wild card, so they're 3.5 games up on everybody for that. So that's one of the teams. They're like, the Phillies are beating up on a bad team. They're not a bad team no more. Phillies, they got a 31-16 record, and the Phillies have been on fire since then as well, for the most part. Second one, with the trade deadline approaching, the NL is going to have. There's going to be a lot of people in the NL looking out to the AL for trade chips. And the reason is nationally, they got 9 teams currently above 500 in the playoff race. And the AL, they only got 6. And the other teams, they're like pretty far behind, so it's not like they're right there for a playoff spot. So it's more deeper than that, more than the 6 teams that are above 500. Like, it's going to be hard to get in the harder to get in the NL playoffs. So all these guys are going to go out there and they're all fighting for them bottom 9 teams in the AL, like their trade chips, you know. And the last one, and we talked about this earlier in the week, and it's James Wood of the Washington Nationals. This kid is on fire.
On fire.
Over the last 162 games, he's 31 homers, 105 RBIs, 166 hits, and he's got an OPS of 859.
Stud.
And he's one of the trade chips for Juan Soto from San Diego. And here's one that I wasn't expecting. I literally just seen it right before we started. His last 4 plate appearances today, 4 straight intentional walks. First player to have 4 intentional walks in a game since Barry Bonds.
Wow.
Yeah.
This
wild. This kid is unreal. And we talked about it off in the side chat.
Yeah.
He might be the first billion-dollar player. Because he's going to be there for at least 4 or 5 more years before, unless they get him under contract before that.
Right.
But if he hits like free agency, he might hit the billion-dollar mark. And that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't follow too much, but with the All-Star game, didn't he get Sham?
Yeah, he wasn't one of the finalists. No.
So the MLB is doing a disservice not plugging this kid in this upcoming All-Star game. So shame on you, MLB. Hopefully you get a chance to correct that. And this is the guy I would love to see in the home run derby, right?
I want to mess up the swing.
Right, I got you there.
That's funny. No, that's
second
that's
thing with
funny.
that is the Nationals are still garbage. They got a king's ransom. Abrams, Gore, Wood, who's the best of the 3. Abrams came up last year. Abrams was the man. I know he had a little maturity issues, but he was the man. Gore's up there with strikeouts in the whole league, and now Wood looks like a top 10 player. They still stink. Washington, figure it out, okay? Figure it out, all right? We're tired. We would love to see different rivalries. A DC rivalry would be cool. So figure it out.
No, so James Wood is a friend of the podcast for sure. We give that guy a lot of love here. So
come to us. We will pay you. We will give you $1 million.
So shout out again to the Freshworks of Port Richmond, the official tailgate provider of the Red Corner. So guys, we do not only do we do live watch along parties at Love City Brewing, we do actual tailgates down at the ballpark when we go to games, and the Freshworks of Port Richmond provides all the food there. So come hang out at them in the future. It'll be on all of our socials. And make sure you use the Freshworks for catering, ordering food. You got the information right down there, phone number, website. They do it all. Great business, great people that run that.
And this is the Freshworks Port Richmond. It's
sir.
Best. It is the best. The
it is.
In Port Richmond. There's other ones, but the one in Port Richmond, Joe absolutely crushes it, man. Absolutely crushes it. Been there for years, man.
Absolutely crushes it. And let's get back here. I have something I want to bring up. And before I bring this up, we got Mike in the chat saying Woods on his fantasy team too, Bones. So he's with you on that. Bonzi saying when we trading the Phillies for when the Phillies trading for Trout? That's your favorite question, Bones.
The Angels are in the race. Slim might be taking a future on the Angels. I'm looking at the Angels and I'm looking at the Miami Marlins. Some long shots.
100%.
It's going to be against Mike Trout and the Angels.
Yes,
July 18th.
Nice.
So that's exactly right. So we'll be eating some fresh works and watching Mike Trout. So that's going to be a fun day.
We got Trout, and we'll be on Scott Kingery notice. He got in the other day. They have a great shortstop, Nito. He got injured. Kingery got pulled into play shortstop. He immediately kicked the ball.
100%. So before we transition to Slim-Pick-Ems, I wanted to bring up one of my, call it the Devo digressions, whatever you want to call it. So I went to Margate today, Margate, the beach town in New Jersey, right? And obviously that's not like a secret beach or anything like that, but it's not a beach that I've gone to a lot in my life. I'm familiar with the whole Lucy the Elephant. I know that whole thing. I know it's close to Philly, right? That's why we went there, just doing a little beach day. It's like an hour away. It was great. It was clean. Everyone was really nice there. But what I was going to ask the chat here is, that was the first experience I've ever had with the toll where I'm getting hit on the toll going in and I'm getting hit on the toll going out. So am I just delusional here, or is there any other examples of that where you can recall getting hit both ways on a toll? Outside of that, I let the chat think, let you guys think on that. That I had a great time and it was awesome there, but that was a weird one. I've never seen that before.
I would have to say that I don't know off the top of my head that's ever happened or that I know of. I know for sure though, down here in the Jersey Shores, all these little bridges, it's toll city. It is toll city.
What is it toll both ways? Because maybe I'm just wrong and I don't know about that.
Slim has the easy pass. So I'm just flying through and
they don't accept it. So that's the other thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah.
Like a separate little.
It's a separate little thing in Margate. Yeah, they don't do easy pass. That's a whole other thing. So they accept card though.
I have to double check because I was in Margate recently. Slim might be getting a ticket in the mail. I gotta see now. Now I'm worried.
But one thing I wanted to bring up about the Jersey Shore, right? So we're all creatures of habit, right? So we're Wildwood guys. A lot of Philly people are, right? You got the Wildwoods, the Cape Mays, Ocean City, Sea Isle. But if there's any shore towns, maybe little hidden gems that the Red Corner should be aware of, let us know, because maybe we'll check it out. Day trip, stuff like that. So chat or anyone wants to, send it in the future, let us know. Because I was thinking about that. I know Margate is not an example of that. But for me, it was kind of a funny experience growing up in Philly for as long as I did and never really spending a day there. And it was a fun day. So chat, if there's any good examples of one like that, let us know. We'll give that shout out. But Slim, Let's get some winners here, baby.
All right, let's get into it. So, Slim-Pick-Ems brought to you by Warminster Dental Associates and D-Town Dental. They are smiles ahead of the competition, okay? They are smiles ahead of the competition, just like Slim and his partners and the S&P 500. If you've been following me on Twitter, you know Slim's been super duper duper hot.
On fire.
The one reason, right? And this is what I'm going to do every week. I'm going to give you one little nugget. One little nugget. Last week, the nugget I gave you was this: opportunity. I can't be delivering winners if I'm giving them once the market closes and then 18 hours before the market opens again for one day. No, we got to be trading every single day. So that's what we've been doing, and that's what we're going to continue to do. The second thing we're going to be talking about is, why is Slim's record like 1,000 games below 500 and his units are plus? It makes no sense. I know you guys are thinking, and I know it. I get the doubters. I got the doubters. Right now, Slim's record is 64 and 114. Okay, that's over 50 games. That's 50 games below 500. But I'm plus 20 something units. All right. The reason for that is because you're used to taking minus 10 on a regular bet. We're always taking plus value here. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's even 3-1. Okay. That's what you really got to remember. So again, these picks are brought to you by Warminster Dental Associates and D-Town Dental. With these picks, you're going to be able to pay cash. You're going to be able to drop your insurance, not have to pay that weekly thing, and just have the cash ready. All right, the big ballers, we don't have insurance. We just use cash when we need to, okay? And these are the picks we're taking going into Monday. Remember, all minus 1.5, all one unit. We're taking San Diego versus the Phillies. Unfortunately, just close your eyes. Forget that you even have it. They're going to be plus 235. We're taking the Cardinals, who have been super hot. They're only a game or so behind the Cubs now for first place. They're going to be plus 145. The third game is the Yankees, who have been super stinky. They just got kind of beat around a little bit by the A's 2 days ago. They're having a hard time scoring. They've been shut out 7 times this month, but they're going to come through us this week. They're going to be about even. The next play is going to be the Reds. They're going to be about plus 200. They're playing the Red Sox, which who knows what the Red Sox GM's doing. And last but not least, the Kansas City Royals. Again, a team that struggles to score, but close your eyes, hold your nose, and hopefully they put a couple runs up against Seattle. So in recap, San Diego, the Cards, the Yankees, the Reds, Kansas City, and the Giants. So that's a 6-pack for you.
Damn. Beautiful. Again, Slim does it every week, so make sure you ride with Slim because the Red Corner does. And that was Slim-Pick-Ems, brought to you by Warminster Dental Associates and D-Town Dental. They are smiles ahead of the competition, like Slim said. All their information is right there. If you are in the Philadelphia area, seriously, the dentist is a tough one, right? Because, let's be honest, not everybody loves going to the dentist. But it's easier when you know that you got some good people there and you get a referral. These are good people. So these are the people you should be hitting up if you're kind of nervous about a dentist. Go to these guys. You don't have to be in Warminster or Doylestown to go there. They accept everybody. So go over there. They're a Red Corner, stamped approved. Check them out. And thank you for sponsoring Slim-Pick-Ems. And Slim's been on fire. So keep that coming.
You guys can go straight to the websites, warminsterdental.com and dtown.com. And if you got to recap the picks, you can follow me at on Twitter, TRC_Slim. You already know.
100%. And Bonzi in the chat saying Strathmere in response to my question earlier about a nice little low-key beach. Bonzi, I'm assuming that's Jersey. I've never been there. I'll have to check that out. Have you guys ever been to Strathmere?
No.
Like you said,
okay.
Creature Habit, North Wildwood.
Right.
And I'm telling you, the people, there's going to Love City has brought, because we have Red Riders coming from all over the Northeast, South Jersey, and these places are hungry for us to go there. So we're going to be doing more events. We hear you loud and clear. We can only be in one place at one time. We can't be Fred Flintstoning ourselves and making commitments we can't do. But we're going to be getting up to the Northeast. We're going to be doing shore events. You're going to be seeing us around. We're not going nowhere.
100%. And speaking of Red Riders being everywhere, Slim, we got Michael in the chat saying that he's from the South and he doesn't subject people to tolls down there. That's funny, man. Yeah, you're right. The toll thing is more of a Northeast thing. You're not wrong about that. And Michael also said he could use a teeth cleaning. It's been over a decade. Listen, man, I don't know how much they're going to charge you if it's been over a decade, but still, tell them that we sent you. They'll take good care of you. Oh, so Strathmere is right near Sea Isle. Okay. I'm definitely going to check it out.
Michael, two things. I don't know. I hear Florida's bad with the tolls. I don't know if you consider that the South or Florida's its own thing. The second thing, you're smart. You're just like Slim. Don't go to the dentist. I haven't gone in years. I take these picks, and if something's bad, I go and we negotiate right there. I need a cavity fill, bop, 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 bop. And then people who are paying the insurance bi-weekly. Follow Slim-Pick-Ems. Just go when you gotta go. Pay as needed, not bi-weekly, as needed. Michael, you're a smart man.
100%. Guys, I wanted to close with this before we get to the, how we close the show every week. But mid-season, we gave our report card, right? I'll remind the listeners, we gave the grades earlier. So Bones gave a grade of B-, Slim gave a grade of C, and I gave a grade of B flat, B, for the Phillies grade for the year so far. Who would you name the team MVP so far? Bones, let me start with you.
Who? Trey Turner. I mean, he's been Mr. Consistency all year. Leads the National League in hits.
Right.
He's up there in batting average. Easily Trey Turner. Needs to start hitting some home runs at the bank.
I think it's a two-man race. I'm curious who Slim's going to say here.
Positional player, I would say Schwarber for sure, because like I said, he because of the slug. We would have zero anything if it wasn't for Schwarber. He has more home runs than like the next five guys combined, it seems like, and that is just absolutely huge.
Right.
So I would say Schwarber, but we all know who the real MVP is, right?
Nicky C.
Always, yeah, right. Dude.
Always Nicky C.
Yeah,
Nicky doubles. No, so Slim, I was going back and forth in my head on this. I'm going to lean Turner. Obviously, the main thing that he has over Schwarber is that he plays defense. Not only does he play defense, he plays shortstop. Now, I'm not going to die on the hill of how good of a shortstop he is. Obviously, he's not great. But also, he's not as bad as what we like to make him seem like he is, right? So he plays a premium defensive position. He's been playing awesome offense. So I'm going to lean Turner as my MVP as well. This is the Turner that we signed for $300 million deal. This is the guy right here.
And Turner, I think it's a great choice, especially like you said, you can't discount the defense. Right. Obviously, the homers are one thing. With Schwarber and the offense is our defense is very weak as well. But the thing with Turner, it's a classic example of how, and like I like to say with the approval rating going back and forth. Mm-hmm. When we first got him, there wasn't a peep about his defense. Slim, a couple other people saw a little cranny, little nook, and started, beating the horse about his defense, and then it builds momentum, and we see that it gets into the Phillies fans' consciousness, and then we don't let it go. To your point, it's been better, but now
it's been better.
Now the whole consciousness has to get slowly walked back. So no, I'm with you with Turner, but I still get the slight nod to Schwarber just because if we didn't have his pop, we'd be in a bad spot.
100%. And chat, it's been a great night, a lot of activity, and I love to see the new names. Right, the new names is always great to see because we love our recurring, our regulars, right, to use the bar term, but the new names is always fun because it shows that we're getting our name out there a little bit. But, Michael's in the chat said that, yes, the Turner we paid for. We had Bonzi confirm that, yes, it was the Jersey bar near Sea Isle. And two good bars to check out in Strathmere are Twisties and Duville. So we'll have to check that out. Guys, let's close it down in the way that we always do with On This Day in Phillies History.
So slow day on this day in Phillies history, but we're going back to 2022, and it's the debut of former first overall pick Mark Apel. He was a guy, highly touted prospect, originally drafted in 2012 by the Pittsburgh Pirates, didn't sign, went back to Stanford for his senior year, bumped up his resume. Next year, first pick by the Houston Astros. didn't really pan out. Was traded to the Phillies in 2015.
Right.
He left baseball for a little bit. After that, came back and was down to minors. Then 2022, he came up, made his first career appearance with the Phillies on this day.
Very nice. Okay, good show. Yeah, slow news day for sure on that front. Guys, thank you so much to everyone that came to the live watch along at Love City. It was an absolute blast. Slim hit it very well last time. We really appreciate it because obviously we do this show because we love talking about Phillies baseball, right? But it's really fun when we get to have the engagement and talk to you guys. So thank you for that. So be on the lookout, right? We got the Padres coming up, and then we have the Reds this series. We have an off day on Thursday. So we've got some special content. Hint, hint, it might be related to the trade deadline coming your way. So stay tuned because we're going to be releasing some other content this week about the trade deadline, and you'll see that on all of our socials. Slim, anything else you want to say before we closing thoughts?
Yeah, I hate to bring it back to the beginning of the show, but Slim wasn't looking at the comments. What's Slim getting in trouble for, Charles? At 8:33, he has Slim's getting in trouble for that one. What am I getting in trouble for?
I missed that one. Charles, if you're still here. And by the way, guys, especially the new guys, if you have not hit that subscribe button, you know the deal on that one. But
I feel like everybody's always picking on Slim.
Honestly, I think that was related to you, like a joke about your fiance. You made a in the beginning, right?
The tab. He's absolutely correct.
Yes,
absolutely correct.
So that's what it was. All right, Red Riders, thank you very much. This was a fun episode. Go Phils. Let's keep it going. Big series win against the Braves. Let's handle business against the Padres. And same thing with the Reds. Go Phils, and we will see you soon.